Have you ever watched a legendary brand throw away everything that made it great? Because that's exactly what Jaguar just did. And it might be their biggest mistake yet. A brand synonymous with elegance, speed, and style has just killed off its entire lineup. Unveiled a car that looks more like an appliance than a predator, and doubled down on alienating its loyal fans. This isn't just a bold move, it's a high-stakes gamble that could end in disaster. In the next few minutes, you'll see exactly how Jaguar went from creating some of the most beautiful cars in the world, cars so iconic that even Ferrari called them masterpieces, to releasing a robotic-looking EV mocked by the entire industry. We'll uncover the shocking corporate chaos behind the scenes, break down why this strategy seems destined to fail, and explore the possible futures of a brand teetering on the edge. But to really understand how we got here, you first need to know what made Jaguar so special in the first place, and why throwing that all away may have sealed its fate. Jaguar's story begins in the 1920s, when two young visionaries started building sidecars and then affordable yet elegant cars under the name Swallow Sidecar Company. By the 1930s, the Jaguar name emerged, and with it, a philosophy that defined the brand for decades: crafting cars that looked twice as expensive as they actually were. Jaguar combined grace, pace, and space, creating vehicles that embodied the sensual lines of a predator, the roar of a champion, and the comfort of a gentleman's lounge. It was this philosophy that gave us legends like the XK120, which was the fastest production car of its day, the racing-dominant C-Type and D-Type, and of course, the E-Type, famously called the most beautiful car ever made. Jaguar's design language was organic, flowing, and alive, like a cat ready to pounce. Even later models like the F-Type carried this DNA, with muscular curves and a driver-focused cockpit. But the trouble started when Jaguar's ownership kept changing hands, from British Leyland to Ford and eventually Tata Motors. With each new owner came compromises, diluted identity, and declining quality. Sales suffered, the brand aged, and Jaguar lost its status as the cool, stylish, attainable luxury it once was. By the 2020s, Jaguar was selling fewer than 9,000 cars worldwide over 2 years, numbers that even niche brands would consider catastrophic. But here's where it gets interesting and risky. Instead of refining what made Jaguar iconic, Tata Motors decided to burn the house down. They announced they were killing the entire existing lineup. Sedans, sports cars, SUVs, all gone. In their place, an all-electric, ultra-luxury brand that would start at prices more than double their current models. And their boldest move yet was the unveiling of the Type 00 concept, a car so alien to Jaguar's heritage that it was ridiculed the moment it debuted. The Type 00 doesn't whisper elegance. It screams, "Look at me," with brutalist, robotic lines, a flat rear panel, and a blunt front end. Gone are the flowing curves, the predatory stance, the sensuous tension. Instead, critics compared it to a refrigerator on wheels, an air conditioner with butterfly doors. Even Elon Musk publicly mocked them, tweeting, "Do you sell cars?" And yet, Jaguar's leadership doubled down, saying they don't care if people like it. Some will, some won't, and that's just fine with them. Stick with me, because the next part will really make you question who they think they're building cars for. This rebrand isn't just ugly, it's bad business. Jaguar plans to sell these new EVs for upwards of $100,000, putting them directly against Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Lucid, and Polestar. But here's the problem. All of those brands already do it better, and they've been cultivating that audience for decades. Meanwhile, Jaguar is abandoning the customers who made it successful in the first place, buyers who love that perfect balance of performance, style, and affordability. In luxury, customer loyalty is everything. Buyers don't just purchase a car, they buy into a lifestyle, an identity, a story. When you rip that story away, you risk alienating the very people who kept you alive all these years. Worse yet, dealers are already in crisis mode, sitting on inventory they can't sell, watching their profits disappear, and facing an uncertain future. Some say if this strategy doesn't turn around, we could see Jaguar dealerships shutting their doors entirely. And the question nobody's asking yet? What happens if even the ultra-wealthy don't bite? Jaguar claims it's targeting a new generation of buyers, a small but elite group who supposedly value exclusivity and futuristic design over heritage. But history shows us that heritage is often the biggest asset a luxury brand has. Porsche proved you can go electric without abandoning your DNA. Rolls-Royce's Spectre still feels like a Rolls. Even Tesla, which had no history, succeeded by actually offering something new, not just something controversial. Jaguar, on the other hand, seems to have confused evolution with revolution. And that confusion is what makes this gamble so dangerous. Let's consider the three possible futures here. First, the worst-case scenario. Jaguar's radical departure alienates its loyal customers without attracting enough new ones. Sales collapse, Tata Motors burns through its £15 billion investment and eventually shutters or sells the brand. Jaguar becomes just another footnote in the graveyard of once great automakers, alongside Saab, Pontiac, and Plymouth. Second, the niche success scenario. Jaguar finds a tiny but devoted following among ultra-wealthy buyers who value rarity over heritage. The brand survives as a boutique, super premium mark, like Maybach to Mercedes selling just a few thousand cars a year. It could work, but it would mean Jaguar has fundamentally abandoned its founding principles of attainable luxury. Jaguar listens to the backlash and adjusts before it's too late. They soften the designs, reintroduce traditional Jaguar elements, and find a way to merge their timeless grace with modern technology. After all, brands like BMW have faced fierce criticism over controversial designs in the past, only to adjust and recover without throwing away everything. But what if Jaguar's leadership is so convinced they're right, they double down instead? That's what worries industry experts the most. The public reaction has already been brutal. Social media lit up with comments like, "This is the most colorful funeral I've ever seen," and "It looks like it was designed by someone who's never seen a Jaguar before." Even loyal Jaguar owners are speaking out, with the Jaguar Enthusiast Club warning that this new direction abandons the very essence of what makes a Jaguar. And yet Jaguar's executives seem proud of the backlash, saying it means they're being bold. But there's a fine line between boldness and arrogance, and it's not clear they know which side they're on. So here's the real question. Are they even building these cars for us anymore? Some analysts believe Jaguar's real bet is on a shift in global luxury markets. They argue that upwardly mobile middle-class buyers who used to aspire to brands like Jaguar no longer exist at scale in the West. Instead, Jaguar could be pivoting to appeal to wealthy buyers in emerging markets, where heritage may not matter as much as exclusivity and design. But even if that's true, it raises another question. Why abandon your legacy when it costs nothing to keep it alive? Electric power doesn't prevent a Jaguar from looking and feeling like a Jaguar. Porsche's Taycan proves it. Ford's Mustang Mach-E, controversial as it was, still carries clear Mustang DNA. And even Tesla's radical Cybertruck feels like a natural extension of its brand. By confusing the medium, electric power, with the message, Jaguar's timeless values, they risk destroying the one thing that truly set them apart. But there's another layer to this story that most people aren't talking about, and it has to do with the very nature of what luxury even means in the 21st century. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Luxury itself is changing, and Jaguar may not be wrong about that part. For much of the 20th century, luxury was about tradition, about owning something handcrafted, exclusive, and steeped in heritage. A Bentley wasn't just a car, it was a rolling British castle. A Ferrari wasn't just a fast machine, it was Italian art on wheels. But today's younger luxury buyers are different. They've grown up in a world of rapid change, disposable tech, and a social media culture obsessed with novelty. To them, tradition sometimes feels old, unnecessary, even boring. They value disruption, sustainability, digital experiences, and boldness. And that may explain why Jaguar's leadership is leaning into controversy rather than avoiding it. Why are they deliberately alienating some buyers in order to capture the attention of others? In their minds, being talked about, even negatively, is better than fading into irrelevance. You can see echoes of this in other industries too. Look at fashion houses deliberately pushing shocking designs that generate buzz, or luxury watches that defy traditional horology with outrageous futuristic styling. In a noisy world, standing out has become its own form of currency. But even here, there's a cautionary tale, because luxury buyers may want boldness, but they still want it to feel authentic. And that's where Jaguar seems to stumble. It's not enough to be different. You also have to feel real. The reason Porsche's Taycan works isn't just that it's an EV, it's that it feels like a Porsche. Every line, every detail, every drive reminds you of the brand's racing DNA. So the risk Jaguar runs is that by trying too hard to shock, they end up looking desperate rather than desirable. And in luxury, desperation is deadly. There's also the question of sustainability, not just environmental sustainability, but business sustainability. Even if their new cars attract a small group of ultra-wealthy buyers, how long can that strategy really last? Boutique brands live or die by their ability to deliver on a promise of excellence and rarity. And so far, Jaguar hasn't shown they can execute at that level. And that brings us to another point, execution. Building a $100,000 plus EV isn't easy. You're competing against companies with decades of experience in the luxury space, massive R&D budgets, and dealer networks that know how to cater to high net worth individuals. Rolls-Royce and Bentley have been perfecting that experience for over a century. Even Lucid, a much younger player, is staffed with veterans from Tesla and other tech-driven firms. Jaguar, by contrast, has struggled to maintain consistent quality and reliability even at lower price points. So convincing skeptical buyers that they deserve a seat at the ultra-luxury table is going to take more than just a futuristic concept car. It's going to take flawless execution, something they've historically struggled with. And there's yet another complication, the technology itself. The EV space is evolving at a breakneck pace. Battery chemistry, charging networks, software integration, all of it is advancing so quickly that today's cutting edge can feel outdated in just a couple of years. For a brand like Jaguar, which has already fallen behind its competitors in EV development, that's a real problem. You can't just build a beautiful car anymore. You also have to offer the best-in-class range, seamless software, over-the-air updates, and integration with an increasingly connected lifestyle. Anything less, and you risk being dismissed as style over substance. So while the idea of repositioning Jaguar as a future-focused luxury EV brand sounds bold on paper, the real-world challenges are enormous. And yet, you almost have to respect the audacity, because staying the course wasn't working either. Sales were dismal, dealers were frustrated, the brand had become a punchline in many circles. Something had to change, and change, real change, is never comfortable. The question is whether Jaguar has the vision and the discipline to make this pivot work, or whether it's simply a last, desperate roll of the dice. Because the truth is, luxury buyers have choices, more choices than ever before. And in a world where everyone is competing for their attention, the brands that succeed will be the ones that can balance innovation with identity. And right now, Jaguar seems to have forgotten half of that equation. So maybe this is the final test, the moment where Jaguar decides what kind of company it really wants to be and whether it can live up to its own name. Because here's the thing, even in emerging markets, even among younger buyers, heritage still matters. Maybe not in the way it used to, but it still carries weight. It still tells a story. And if Jaguar can find a way to honor that story while embracing the future, they might just pull it off. But if they can't, then this gamble won't just cost them their customers. It will cost them their soul. And once you lose that, there's no getting it back. So as we watch Jaguar's next chapter unfold, one question remains. Are we witnessing a rebirth or just the slow, stylish demise of a once great legend? Only time will tell. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments, do you think Jaguar's gamble will pay off, or is it already too late?